So, take a quick knowledge quiz. If you won the lottery and received a lump sum of money, let's say $1 million, you are being offered two options. Option A, $1 million up front, less taxes, approximately $600,000, $600K you'll receive. Or option B, $100,000 per year, less taxes, probably $85,000, but for 20 years. What option would you choose? Think about that for a minute. Rule number 9. In a crisis, a lot of people will become wealthy, like we mentioned earlier. Example, during this COVID-19 crisis, there will be lots of millionaires made because they are properly positioned to take advantage of those who are poorly situated. Rule number 10. Make sure you understand the tax laws. And rule number 8, there are tax implications involved with each option. Tax consequences should be considered before making any economic decision. It is better to take the payment spread over 20 years because the taxes would be less and you would make almost twice as much money. Most important, if you make a mistake with a lump sum payment, you will still have twice as much money coming in over the years unless you were foolish enough to sell off your future earnings. Monthly cash flow is more valuable than a lump sum payment, unless you can take the lump sum payment to make current cash flow right now, which means that the lump sum payment is more valuable to you at the present moment than a series of future payments, which may also be worth less because of inflation. I would still take the future series of payments because receiving twice as much money in the future from a guaranteed source will offset any loss due to inflation. It will also require you to not being greedy and being tempted to spend your future increase in wealth. If you are taking the lump sum payment to pay off debt, you are making the wrong decision and you lack vision. Rule 11. Make sure you understand the business of life and learn cash flow management principles before you think of starting a business. Enroll in Boardwalk School of Economics. Like I mentioned before, most people who want to start a business, first thing out of their mouth, I need to get a loan. Instead of study, preparation, understanding your business, getting a business plan together, and then put some sweat equity in to get it going. You know, even on Shark Tank, right? They say, what have you done to invest in your own business? How many sales have you made? Where's your prototype? And so forth. These are things that you need to think about, and that's what you use your job for, to finance that type of endeavor. And you can also use this program. That's what it's set up to do. Rule number 12. Stay in your lane and don't play somebody else's street game. You will make reckless decisions trying to be something you are not, just because you have not discovered your own purpose. Focus on your own vision in order to implement your dreams and aspirations. Rule 13. Learn to think the Boardwalk way. Enroll now. Rule 14. Enroll in the Rite of Passage program. Go to the website mentioned above, read, spend some time, and get busy. Surround yourself with people who want to learn how to make money, not just people who are interested in making money without being willing to learn how it's done, because they will cut corners and get you hurt in the process, aka the street hustler who doesn't have a life plan, shooting from the hip, coupled with the person who wants you to invest in their project without a business plan. This is where the 80% failure rate comes from. Rule 15, diversification. There are many types of diversification. There's a skill-based diversification, and there's investment-based diversification. There are many types of diversification. You must be educated, not only in your profession, but as an entrepreneur. You must diversify your knowledge base. So, if necessary, you will have at least 2 knowledge streams of income during your wealth accumulation years. Eventually, your mental assets will be positioned to take over. In the short term, you want to have a job to generate cash flow, but you should know how to be an entrepreneur because it eases your mind and you're not as stressed out so much because you only have one pony, JLB, in the race. For example, being fired, laid off, or the unanticipated COVID-19 crisis. Those people who only know how to get a job are freaking out right now. You need to know how to diversify your income base. Generate income from both your job and from your business venture. The objective is to get your business to produce as much income as your job, and if you had to, you could put more time in your business, generating more income than from your job. Advice: do not work 2 jobs for someone else, and your budget will help to accomplish this scenario. Right? Stick to the 75-25 rule. Have 1 job working for someone else, and your other time is spent starting your own business. If you have 2 or more jobs working for somebody else, it should be only for a short-term period of time in order to pay off debt and create some savings in order to accomplish the 75-25 rule. 75% living, 25% investing in your future growth and development. It is not for you to be able to spend, it should not be for you to spend more money. Some people have 2 to 3 jobs, but they spend the extra income on shopping and buying stuff. That's not cool. That's not how you create wealth. That's not how the game is played, right? Rule number 16, the lottery, the big check syndrome. Continue from rule number 8. Once you have accomplished the 75-25 rule and accumulated income, you want to turn that income into wealth by investing in assets that produce income. Just like we said before, knowing the difference between an asset and a liability. The rule is an asset puts money in your pocket and a liability takes money out of your pocket, period. Wealth is how many days, months, and years you can exist without having to punch a clock. Assets generate income to increase your wealth even faster with the proper amount of leverage being used. This is when your credit score comes in, not for personal greed, buying stuff, but from the business point, you use leverage so you can grow faster economically. Situate your portfolio where the income from your assets are used to purchase your home and not income from your job, where you have to be there every day to make ends meet. Purchasing property that doesn't generate income will leave you cash poor and struggling to make ends meet. If you have to work at a job to afford it, your house, watch out for the big check syndrome, right? What is the choice that you are making? For example, some people say that renting instead of buying is throwing away money. Well, it depends. It depends. How many people live cash poor and then eventually lose their homes? When you rent, it is just paying rent, and you don't have to pay for upkeep of the property and the repairs. Utility payments are much smaller compared to the operation of a home. Hopefully, you don't rent a place that takes the majority of your disposable income and you're not able to make money moves. So if you're renting, some people live above their means. So when they rent, they don't have any money left over. So if you have an income, try to find a place where you can live below your means. So now you have cash flow left over. Like the couple above we talked about, but they had $1,000 left over that they can invest and save, even with children, right? But they decided they had a perfectly operating vehicle, but they decided because they wanted to keep up with the Joneses that they want to go ahead and buy an automobile, a fancy automobile that took them to the edge, causing them to live from paycheck to paycheck, which was a formula for disaster because they eventually had to file for bankruptcy, right? So you don't want to do that. Now, if you're living like that, then it would probably be better to go ahead and purchase a home. If you want a home, manage your budget, 75-25, save, and then invest. Because what you can do is that the couple above that had that $1,000 extra, they can probably do the budget, squeeze out a little bit more, save, and then look at an apartment complex. Maybe a fourplex, right? So, and live in one of the units where the other units are subsidizing your rent each month. Over time, your savings will increase, possibly allowing you to purchase another apartment complex. Now let these units purchase your home and you're still working at your job making income, especially young couples starting out, right? And remember, everything's a cost-benefit analysis. So when you do the numbers, and even when you do the initial numbers, you still may be where it's just not, you're still not making income on that property, a positive cash flow on that property. But just remember, a couple rent increases later, you might be getting a positive cash flow from that property. So you just have to do the analysis. You have to use your disposable income wisely by managing your spending habits. So now you have assets that are generating income that's paying for your lifestyle. So now you can take that, you have that fourplex, you bought it, invested in something else. Now you can use the cash flow to buy your home. And if you have a job, using your job to purchase a home, that's not good because suppose you lose the job. or you're living from paycheck to paycheck, and then taking all your cash and you can't do anything except for be stuck where you are. Rule number 17, do not have fake assets. Assets such as stocks that are subject to market fluctuations, the gambler's market, are fake and unreliable assets. We already understand what happens when the stock market crashes and your 401k takes a hit. Middle America has been wiped out by the stock market crash in 2008, causing millions of Americans facing retirement to continue working. 70-year-old whites who had already retired had to go back to work. Another important example of a fake asset is being over-leveraged, which means you have mortgages on all of your rental properties. I've known ballers bragging who had 5 or more properties in their portfolio with mortgages and relied solely on tenants paying their rent. And when the market crashed in 2008 and the tenants failed to pay their rent, they lost the bank's property because they didn't have enough liquidity on hand to withstand the downturn in the economy. Not only did they lose their investment property, they lost all their properties, including the one they lived in, because they bought into the secret of mental prosperity. They manifested the concept of financing property that they couldn't afford. Their debt-to-equity ratio was out of balance, which means they were insolvent and had fake assets. They were being too greedy with no financial knowledge of how things work. You can't purchase your way to success without understanding how leverage works, right? On the flip side, you have to be able to manage the property and understand how to keep the property profitable before you purchase it and what contingency plans you have in place if things don't go as predicted. When the economy goes down, you lose everything if you can't make the payments. There is more to creating wealth than just purchasing property. Learn the difference between an asset and a liability and what is the safest amount of debt to carry, which requires knowledge of the business and proper financial analysis. Everything is leverage. It's the leverage game, along with understanding your business and its market. You want everything to be in balance. In the 2008 housing crisis, lots of people faced this type of scenario and lost everything because the house always wins. What do I mean? I just heard some black financial advisor on the internet tell black people to take the equity out of their homes and invest it in the stock market. This is irresponsible, dangerous, and misinformed advice for so many reasons besides just being stupid. People have just lost their retirement savings investing in the stock market. Besides, what will you invest in? And you will have to rely on a broker who does not have your best interests at heart. Your best investment is to invest in a program and assets which will enhance your lifestyle and not put your lifestyle at risk because you have not thoroughly educated yourself. Rule 18, create strategic partnerships. This is a situation where a lot of people around you are making money. This program is designed to help with more people knowing about and understanding the money game. The goal here, after we learn the skills, tools, and principles of money creation, is to create and purchase industries after all your personal debt is paid off. The objective of your group is to attract people who are good investors in each other. When you are out of debt and not money hungry, you can work together and to create wealth, which is a process. A group who can purchase apartment units, franchises, and invest in businesses. These all have not only good investment possibilities, but significant tax write-offs as well. People who work at jobs pay the most in taxes. So that's why you want to have a plan to develop wealth, which carries tax benefits along with it. Rule number 19, building institutions. Learn about entrepreneurship and the types of business entities that are best suited for the type of business, combined with the entity's ability to offer you the best tax strategies, as well as transfer wealth to the next generation. The ideal situation is to create a business entity that can survive you. The ideal situation is to prepare your children or someone else's children to run the operation after you no longer can. You cannot transfer your wealth to the next generation. If you cannot transfer your wealth to the next generation so it can be built upon and last after you're gone, then you have failed. We must keep this mission as our primary objective. which is to train ourselves